Hello everyone and welcome to this video. This is a Python macro tutorial and I'll be going through how to automate some processes using the Pyautogui package. Most importantly, this is a beginner's tutorial. When I first learned how to do this, I knew no Python whatsoever, so if this is just your first time as well, perfect. We'll walk through things step by step and I'll try to explain some Python basics along the way. I'll be using, of course, PyCharm here as the programming environment. All the videos and the setup you will need for Python to get here is in the linked description below. So please go, and if you haven't set up your PyCharm, if you haven't even downloaded Python yet, I'm running 3.5. Go ahead and follow the links in the description to get you set up. And then once you open up a new Python file, a script file here within PyCharm, we're going to be going through the file I have here called walkthrough. And we'll go through here and guide through, and then I'll give you guys a final file as well called tutorial, and that's actually the big meaty thing at the end, all the text and code that you would want. But it's important to go through and learn all this, right? There's no reason to jump to the end because you won't understand what's actually going on. So the way I'm coding this isn't the most efficient, but it is the most transparent, and therefore for new coders it's the best to understand what's really going on, why we're doing things, and that'll allow you then to go and have a solid foundation and build off from there, because each application is different and what you want to do will be different. So this will help to kind of springboard you into the next step. So what I'll be automating today is something I did for a senior design project using RD LaserWorks from Boss Laser. Our project was to engrave onto a flashlight at the very end, and so we wanted to automate someone inputting their name and then the program automatically engraving their name onto the flashlight and making sure all the settings are set up, and just automating that whole process saved us a ton of time and then made the demonstration that much better. So, alright, we will go through again. This is just one specific example, but you can take this and you can automate checking emails, you can open up different programs, you can set defaults for Microsoft Word. There's a tons of stuff you can do, but we're going to start very simply here with this Python tutorial. Alright, so the first thing, yes, I have some junk at the top of the screen, but the step one is 3 steps here. Step 1 is going to be importing the packages that we need for the functionality to do this. Step 2 will be going through the different ways to take an input, either hard coding it or prompting a user for the input. And step 3 will be getting into the nitty-gritty, how to actually record mouse clicks and provide different types of inputs from the computer side to maybe say backspace and then type a new value into a dialog box. And Python's going to handle all this. It's great. So first step here. All right, we're going to be using the import command. All right, so this is going to be importing the packages that we want for functionality. So in this video, I'm just using 2 packages. Nothing crazy, but we're going to import the time package. And so you will need to type these in here. So importing time. I'll just type it so it knows what it looks like. So see how it's lit up here? The import is in blue and time is in black. But if we click away from that, it's going to go gray. That's because we're not using the command right now. So it's just taking itself out of the equation for now. Once we use it, it'll light back up. So the time package is going to be required for calling any time-related commands, such as a time delay. And I'll show you this in a second. This can be useful for when you're building your macros to allow your computer to catch up to what you actually want to do. And then we've got the import Pyautogui. Okay, this is a very important package that does the mouse clicks and the typing. So I've put these at the start. Right, these are just keep out of the way of everything else, keep it clean, you have all your packages, you know what's going on. So these are at the very start of your program. Great. A few notes on PyCharm. You're going to use Control-S to save everything. I recommend doing that throughout the video. And then also, everything is gray here because I've got these hashtags or pound signs put in. Note if you don't have those, Python will think that you're actually going to be running code here. So to comment out and for Python not to run, use the hashtag or the pound sign. That keeps everything gray, so if we run anything right now, nothing's in our dialog box. It finishes with the code 0, good. Note that the run button is the green up in the top right. You run that, nothing's happening right now, we're in a good position. Alright, so that's step 1 done. Moving to step 2, kind of the obtain data, could also be kind of the user input part of it. So there's 2 methods. We can either hard code, which means you just set a variable and say, I want X to be 10. Boom, that is a one-time deal. It stays that way throughout every single cycle you run of this program. The other option is to prompt a user input that says, okay, X actually is going to vary based on what someone wants every time. So for our project, we wanted to engrave someone's name. So when they walked up to the computer, it would say, hey, what do you want to engrave? They would type their name in, boom, submits, and then that's what actually gets engraved. So there's the two options, one that's hard-coded and one that varies every time. So for method 1 here in the hard coding, we'll get into some Python syntax for how to actually code and write here. You're going to use the, simply to create a variable, right, you just type a word. So I've created a variable engrave text. And this isn't anything crazy. You could also do my age, right, to be something that you want to do. And you set that to a random variable of 30. So you can do other different types of things. We're just working with text today, which is why you see these apostrophes on either side. That signifies text, okay? As you can see in the my age variable, 30 is in blue. That's going to be a different type of variable being stored, okay? If I were to put the apostrophes on either side of this, do apostrophe and apostrophe, it now sees it as text, so it's storing as the text 30 instead of the number logical value of 30. Okay, so we'll keep everything simple today. We're just working with text. So keep all your words and variables in that parentheses. So if we just run this right now, nothing should happen, right? Because it's just saving two variables. But if we were to go and use the print command, so now we stored two variables up top, and if we use print, you're going to open that and have an argument on the inside. Arguments are what you're actually putting inside of a function. So print is a function, and you're going to do print, and you're going to say engrave text, right, because you created that variable earlier, so now you can call it later. Print engrave text, and you run your program. There it is, okay. So see how mu labs-parisi printed out here? We've got mu labs-parisi up top as well, which is what we saved it as. All good things. All right, we can get rid of the my age for now. It's not applicable anymore. But here we're already coding. So you've got your saving a variable, and now you're printing that same variable to your console, right? So your console is the actual output window. Excellent. If we don't want to have this being saved anymore, again, you can comment it out. It puts it in gray, and we're no longer executing these lines of code. We're just going to skip over them. So this is your first method of how to hard code what you want to be outputted. This is the hard code method. All right, so the second type, if we scroll down here, is going to be the user input. So this one's a little bit more advanced because now you're calling the user to type something, okay? So we're going to keep that same variable, the engrave text variable, okay? We're starting it over again, so it has no value because we graded out up top. We're going to do engrave text here, and the key is to use the input command, all right? This prompts the console for there to be an input given, and then it'll continue the program afterwards. So we're going to say engrave text variable equals, we've got a function input, all right, so we're inputting, and we need an argument in here. And so this can be any question you want. Of course, we could say, hi, how are you? Right, you can put any sort of thing in here, but we want the prompt to be what we're going to engrave. So, hey, what do you want to engrave? Cool. So let's just see what happens if we just run this. Here we see in our console, hey, what do you want to engrave? If we click in here, and if we say mu labs parisi, all right, we're done, right? So now this has been saved to the variable engrave text. If we want to prove it, we can say print engrave text, as we did before. Let's see what happens. So again, it's going to be prompting us, hey, what do you want to engrave? mu labs parisi again. Boom, there's the output right away, mu labs-parisi. Great. Now we're going to introduce the time delay command, okay? So to use this, it's going to be time.sleep, and then you can see it's even prompting you, all right, you can say how many seconds you want to sleep for. So the argument, let's just say 2 seconds for now. As you can see, I've already got some of this down here. I'm skipping ahead. So it's going to wait 2 seconds and then output. And this is your introduction to doing time delays. All right, so now you've got saving the variable. Once we say, all right, here we go. It's going to wait 2 seconds, then boom. Okay, see, good. So now you can do time delays. Not too bad. And remember that you have to have the import time at the very front, or at least before this text. So again, if I put it down here, import time, it's going to ignore the first call that I have early in the script here, and there's the import time. See how it's colored now? It's beautiful. I've got the front of the script, so I'm just going to keep it out for now. All right, so that's your second way of inputting information, right? So now for our project, we had this run every time, and someone would always just type their name in, and that would be great. We would say we're going to print it, all good, and then we move on later, and we go to our third step now, which is going to be the actual, it gets a little tougher now. We're using the Pyautogui package, all right? These are the clicks and the program interactions that we're going to be doing. So the first thing you want to do is make sure you've got the thing you're going to be working with, your different program. For us, it's the RDWorks software, so I'm going to open this up. All right, make sure everything's good here. Okay, we're loaded. We're going to be using this throughout. Great. And we need to know where our cursor is, right? This is very important to understand what our cursor is actually doing. And so our location is extremely important. And to do this, we're going to use the Pyautogui.position command. There's no input needed here, just simply that, and it knows to give out the position. So if we run this, first we should probably comment out other stuff, right? Because we're moving along and learning. We're going to comment out the other stuff. So we're just focused here now. So if we run this, it's going to give the, oh, okay, it didn't give the position there. Hold on. Let's try this again. Pyautogui.position. Oh no. Okay, hold on here. This should be outputting. Oh, you know what? Okay, great lesson in Python. We need to print this out, because otherwise we're not telling it actually to print something. So let's get rid of this for now. If we print, Pyautogui gets our position. So this inside, that is what gets our immediate position. Okay, and it stores that as a kind of variable in space for now. And then you need to print that out. All right, so if we try this again, that is satisfying. Okay, so now we've got, you can see our x coordinate is 1805 and the y is 64. What does that even mean? All right, quick note about Pyautogui UI, and when it's looking at the size of your screen, the very top left is going to be your 0, 0, and as you move across, you've got the x coordinate and you've got the y coordinate. So when my cursor was in the top right at that play button, that position is all the way across the screen at 1805 and only 64. I'm pretty sure these are pixels. So it's 1805 pixels across and 64 pixels down from the top of the screen. This is very important when you're making your program now to know your mouse positions. So you can just call clicks at those positions and jump into different programs, click around within that program, and then typing from there so you can start to see, okay, now we can begin to build off of this. So we've got this print Pyautogui position call. Very important to locate where your mouse is at the current time period. If you also think, well, gee, how am I going to run the program and then know a location somewhere else? Great question. Add a quick time delay in your program. So we're going to do time.sleep, 3 seconds. So now I'm going to click play button, then I'm going to quickly run down to the boss laser right in the bottom right down here so I can find the location of where that is. All right, so if I hit play and then move down here, all right, my script puts out, great, there it is. That's my new location. So if I were to do 1639 and 1050 as my coordinates on the screen, this is this location down in the bottom right, so I can call boss laser. Perfect, exactly what we need. Okay, so now I'll make another thing. We're gonna introduce another command here. So all of these Pyautogui commands are gonna start with Pyautogui. Beautiful. Okay, what do we want to do? We want to click. Beautiful, that is a command. And let's say we want this program to actually click our coordinate that we just found, so it opens up the program. 1050. All right, let's see what happens here. We don't need to do any more delay. We found our spot, so let's get rid of this. Now we just want to click and open up the boss laser program. So if we hit the start button, what does it do? Right away, boom, we jump into boss laser. That's great. That's our first step into doing anything. Again, you can be open up Microsoft Word, you can open up your mail. Excellent steps we're proceeding in here. Okay, I'm going to do maybe little Control S, save your program. So now that we've got how to click in different locations, and you can figure out how to find your location using Pyautogui.position, we can start to build a succession of what's going to happen. Alright, so now the first thing that I'm doing here is how to place text within our program. Okay, so if we open up, right, here's my getting into RDWorks, right, and you can add these little comments. These are really nice. In general, within coding, you should always be commenting next to your code or right above it. This keeps you very much on track, so you don't forget, okay, what is the location of 1636, 1056? I'm unsure. Okay, that's actually the RDWorks icon, and that's how I switch into the program. Okay, awesome. So you can come back in a month or even tomorrow, and you can understand this is what I was supposed to be doing at this time in the code, and this is how it executes. Great. Now I've added some sleeps in here, so between some clicks, it gives you a second to wait for the next one. You can take these out, but note that sometimes it moves very quickly on its own, and so you might not get all the full functionality. But you can mess around with that on your own. I've just kept it 1 second sleep in here between all my actions for simplicity. So note that now we've got step 1 is to go into RDWorks, and then once we're here, my whole goal is to click on our font or text button, click it in the screen, add in some text that we want to actually input, change the font maybe, right? And then we actually can position this. Go up into these boxes, add some new coordinates, right? So we're going to interact with this. And I want to do this all with Python. So all the positions are important. Now I've gone ahead and I've got my positions already. So I'm going to throw this one in here. This is on the insert icon. Again, if you want to find out that position, I'll do it real quick for you again. And we're going back up, and we're going to be using our time sleep and the print function. So you're going to go. Okay, I'll do one more for the fans out there. All right. So we're coming back up again just to find position. We got our time sleep, so you got 3 seconds to go where you want to go. I'm going to give myself a little bit more time. It might be pretty fast here. We got 5 seconds to find a location of different program. So start, boom, here. Okay, wait it out. Hopefully our 5 seconds have passed. I can go back into Python. Here's my new coordinate. Okay, so that's the point of the little icon to insert the text into Boss Laser. Great. All right. Okay. So now you do that for every stage of the locations you want. So going down here, we've got PyGUI. Okay, so here, yeah, so you can see it's pretty close. There's a range. My X here is 5, and the X that it told me when I did it again was 20. And again, these are tiny little pixels, so if you're a little bit far to the left, a little bit far to the right, it's still going to click what you're looking for, and it's actually pretty much the same Y coordinate. Great. Another time in there, I found another location. This is where I'm just placing it at a random. This is just if you know Boss Laser works. Once you click your text, you go and you drop it in the screen. Anywhere you want. That's just your starter location. We're going to change that later, so we'll build in a way to change it. And so this is just the first way to go into RDWorks and place your text. So let's just give it a shot and see what happens. So we start, goes into Boss Laser, clicks the text button, places it, and now we've got a dialog box to work with. That's the next section. Awesome, things are working. And delete the extra text for now in here. Back to PyCharm, little Control S, save which, oh dear. Sorry, little Control S, not Control A. All right, the next step. Whew, it's getting tough. All right, so we're dealing in the dialog box now. Remember, you need to get positions of everything you want to click, and you can use the Pyautogui.click. So I'm assuming you can find the position of clicking the drop-down arrow for the font. All right, I have no doubts in you there. Introducing something new now is, okay, let's just get some room for us. It's right here in this section. We're going to introduce a basic for loop. I wanted to do this just because it's important to know how to do some other things. For loops, again, like the nature of a loop, it goes around and around and around and around and executes the same thing over and over. What does it execute? That which is tabbed right afterwards, okay? So we've got, this is just the syntax. I'm not going to go super into it because, again, this is an intro tutorial. But it's just saying for x, you're just creating a nonchalant variable x in the range of 1 to 7, which means you're going to do something 7 times, okay? That's all this means. What we're going to do, what's tabbed right here, Pyautogui.typewrite. Okay, new command here, but typewrite is just going to be typing the T button. How easy is that? Okay, so good, easy to understand. .typewrite is executing a button. The button's name is T. You could also do delete, and it would delete something, and hit the delete button, right? Just the way we're interacting with our computer, Pyautogui can do the same thing. So we're going to do the T button, and this will help us find the Times New Roman font. Let me explain. If we go in here, new text, click the text, and we click the drop down, and you start hitting T. Look at that. It goes down to Times New Roman after 7 T's. That's exactly what we want to go forward. You can do this for any text you want in here. You could do J, and then here we get the J fonts. Okay, I'm using T right now. All is well. Okay, so that's what we want to automate. So that's why we're having it do it by its own, and we're saying, okay, click the T button 7 times. Note that for loop, if it's working, if it's too much for you, you can just do this 7 times over and over and over and over and over, right? The for loop just makes things easier for us. I wanted to show you that just to have some education of what some further coding is. All right, keep that in there because you are learning. Good. All right, next we've got Pyautogui.click. Once again, you guys can find the locations of these things. I'm clipping the drop-down arrow again to exit the font selection. So we've selected our Times New Roman. Now I want to get out of that. Hit the drop-down button again. Give things a second to catch up. And now I recognize that, hey, maybe there's going to be some text in there from last time, right? There might be some leftover text in that dialog box. So to get rid of that text, we have to click in there. And I've actually clicked right to the left of the furthest most left text that's already in. So I'm clicking right to the left of the MU here. It's very important because then we can use the delete. We can delete a bunch of times to take out all the previous text that was in there and then free it up so we can just put our new text in, no problem. So I'm going to be using the delete command. It's going to do this, right? Delete, 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 delete. And then we can just splat our new text right in there. Back to PyCharm, keep coding here. We've got our new location. We're going to be clicking, so click to remove the previous text. I'm going to add furthermost left letter, right? Because we're going to go to the furthermost to the left letter, so we can just delete. Okay, I did another for loop in here, guys. Prepare for X in range 1 to 30. So I've added 30 deletes in here, right? Because what is it repeating? What's tabbed to the right? So we've got 30 delete. So before it was typewrite. So this was, I have to correct myself here. So typewrite will type letters and type this text out. So if I were to put delete in here, it would spell the word delete. If we want to actually press buttons, we have to use the Pyautogui.press functionality. And this actually presses the button delete. So a similar thing would be maybe backspace. Or if you wanted to do the control button. Control. Currently, we're going to be using delete. So we have delete in there. Don't forget your parentheses, because you have to say it's a text you're looking at, and then it knows to search for a text in the Pyautogui package. Maybe we'll Control S, save your work. All right, so now we've got going in here, and we're going to delete the text. Let's take a look and see what this looks like, shall we? So we'll jump in. Okay, it goes to the program, clicks on our text, selects, finds Times New Roman, and deletes everything. Look at that. Look at that. All right, now it's done, right? This is as far as we've gotten. Cancel out of that. Let's go back into our Python again. All right, and so the next thing we want to do is type our name, or the font we want to engrave, right? So we've got that typewrite function again, similar to when we did T before. Now we're doing the engrave text. We created a variable for this before. Let's go back up to where we created this, and let's see if we want something. Let's do the hard-coded version here. Engrave text, we need a variable, right? So here we are, engrave text equals mu labs parisi. We've got the parentheses on either side, or sorry, the apostrophe on either side to make sure that this is a text. And then, if we come back down to where we're coding, here we are, Pyautogui typewrite engrave text. So it's a variable. So we're calling a variable now, because Pyautogui is going to say, okay, well, what are we trying to actually, typewrite? Okay, we're going to typewrite this engrave text, which we previously defined earlier as a variable, which is mu labs. Fantastic. So now we can just come down in here, and we know it's going to type this in. Great. After that, my little time delay again. this location. What is it? Okay, we're going to click the OK. We're going to click the OK button to exit the text input, and that'll actually close our dialog box, and we'll be ready for the next section. So let's take a look and see what this looks like. Okay. I do encourage you, after every couple steps you do, come in here, run your program, see what's going on, see if it's working, because then it's really hard to go from the end program to understand what's actually happening. So go break this down piece by piece. That's what I'm trying to show you is little steps, make sure it's working, and then you can go from there. So good. So now we've got our MU Labs preset. It's a little bit small right now. It's a bummer, and it's in the wrong spot. Shoot. Well, we can change that. Normally, if you're a human, you come up to the X and Y location, and you change the width and the height. So let's say we want this to be maybe at 100. Let's see where 100 is. A little far, but we're in there. And it's pretty small right now. Let's change the width to maybe 250. Whoa. And change the height to 50. Okay, so now we're getting something better. And so we want to automate this stage as well. And to do that, we need to come up into these boxes. So click our actual text, double click in the boxes, and we can start to change these values. So my process was double click, and then we're going to type delete, and then we're going to enter a new value. Okay, that's the process I took. Let's see how it looks in Python. Okay, so this is all good. Oh, that's a little intimidating. Okay, hold up here. Okay. So we're changing the location and the width. Okay, great. This is what we want to be at. So we first have to click off the object. Right, we just finished changing. We hit OK button. Now we need to move. We need to click off the object, and then give it a second. Click back on the object. All right, and then we're going to be able to adjust the position once we have reselected the object. Give it some sleep. By the way, at this point, if you guys are comfortable, if you're doing a different application, go for it. You don't even need to see the rest of this. This is more for just the boss laser portion from here on out. It's been all the functionality I've already taught. There's going to be nothing new from here on. This is just some more help for those using boss laser. But thank you for tuning in regardless. All right, so if you're still sticking with me, we're going to be moving here. So we need to select the... We want to do a double click though, right? We want to select the X location box. We want to do a double click. How convenient. Look at this. We've got a Pyautogui.double click. Make sure the C is capitalized. And then again, we're just putting the locations in here, X coordinate, Y coordinate. Double click the X location box. Next step, we want to press the backspace button. I believe we could, yeah, so we're pressing a button similar to how we did press delete before. Now we're coming down here to press the backspace button to get rid of the current position, right? So we double click in the box, get rid of the current position. We want to add a new position. Okay, so we're going to add type right. New position we say is 200, or whatever position you want it to be for your application. This is just for my example. This could be 0. You might want to start at the original coordinates of boss laser. Maybe you want to do 150, 25, whatever. You can hard code it in here, or like we did for the engraved text, you can create a variable at the start of your project, and then you can call a variable in here later. So maybe you make a variable that's called X position, right? And earlier in your program, you say, just show it up here, you say X position equals 50. 50. Right, as text, because you're going to be typing it later as text. Okay, so you could do this as well. Create X position equals 50. Later on, you call your X position variable in your text, and then you can go from there. I'm not going to do that. Don't think it's too important for now. I prefer just to do my 200 in there. Only one apostrophe. Careful. All right. Wait another second, and now I'm just repeating this process. So I'll show you what this looks like in our code. This is going to be the very end. You're going to see, click in the very top left in that X location, backspace, and then it's going to type 200. Got to do the whole thing now because we're building this entire program. Note that it's going to make a new one. We didn't get rid of the old MU Labs. That's fine. Let's take a look. Great. Okay, top left. Boom, 200. There it is. Great. So again, we're on a roll. Things are working. I'm just going to get rid of both of these for now because we don't need them. All right, so I guess repeat this process for the next couple boxes. And literally just below, this is all repeat the process for the other boxes here. I'm not going to go through how to do every single one of these. So if we just take off, as you can see the final functionality, save yourself, Control S, all right. Final, all the way through, boom, changes the font, deletes it, adds the new text that you want. Now we've got to reselect our object, change the position, there's the X, there's the Y, there's the width, and there's the height. Boom. And there you go. Now from here, obviously you're not done, but you can create other things you want. Do you want to go into your settings? And you can go over here and you can change your power settings. You can change your speed in the same way, right? You're going to click in somewhere, so you find the location of it, you're going to click there. You're going to backspace a couple times using those for loops, and then you're going to write the new text in there. Same way you can come over here at the very end, you can hit start. I'm not connected to the Boss Laser machine right now, but you can fire it that way as well. So yeah, this is a great way to automate your processes. Hope you've learned a lot. Please leave comments. I'm happy to answer any questions you guys have. And then the rest of the videos you guys need should be in the detailed description below. Follow those links, everything's set up. And happy to help. Thanks for watching. Really appreciate your time, and good luck. Oh, also huge shout out to OBS Studio for helping me create this video. They got a really good software going on here for screen recording, so would highly recommend it if you guys are interested. And talk soon. Thank you. Bye-bye.